It feels a bit odd seeing you sitting here, like a sort of caged animal. You're normally out there in the mountains or the jungles, fighting dangerous beasts. How do you feel?
Incredibly uncomfortable. I tell you what, it's not often I get dressed up in a suit, so it's in your honour. So here you go.
Are you prepared to answer anything, or do you feel like your defences will come up as we go into some of the more nitty-gritty areas of your life?
Depends what you ask me. I mean, you know, I'll always try and be as open and honest as I can, but yes.
Should I be physically afraid of your retribution? Should I press the wrong button?
Depends what you ask. Surely you know the 2-inch death punch. I mean, we've got about... I only need 2 inches, Piers.
Should I become a threat, you are within range?
Yeah.
To kill me with one blow?
Probably not kill you, but you wouldn't work for a week.
Now, Bear is obviously your nickname. How did you get that name?
I was christened Edward, and my sister, who's here tonight, she kind of said, oh, that's such a conventional name. So that became Ted, Teddy, Teddy Bear. Not a very butch story.
In 2010, you came second in a poll of public figures most admired by the middle classes. The poll found that you were, and I quote from them, popular with middle-class men, and a substantial number of middle-class women rather fancy Bear.
Good.
Do you see yourself as a bit of a sex symbol?
No, of course not.
But you're obviously very fit, physically fit.
Well, the truth is, I'm not a natural athlete, actually. I do go to a gym, but I work out in quite an unconventional way. Lots of kind of pull-up stuff and press-up stuff, but always in kind of spider-like, leopard-like positions.
What is a leopard-like position?
Well, instead of, like, doing a normal press-up, you know, I would do a press-up that, instead of like that, I'd have maybe one leg up, and then I'd alternate.
You see... You're not called Bear for nothing. You like cavorting around in the nude, don't you?
Well, again, that's not strictly true. I mean, if there's a substantial body of water around and nobody's looking, I'm often quite tempted to strip off and dive in.
I've got 3 words for you. Nude piano playing.
Yes, that's been known to do as well after a, you know, late night with friends on the piano.
Are you all naked or just you?
We've all been known to be naked, yeah.
When we asked Dermot O'Leary, your friend, about your love of being naked, he said you have sent him and his wife a naked photograph of yourself recently.
I think he texted me going, where are you at the moment? And I sent him a picture of me doing
let's see the picture you sent, shall we? What are you actually doing in that picture?
So this is... We own this little island in North Wales, and there's a great cliff jump into the sea, and I do this every morning, to be honest, when I'm up there and before anyone's out. But the thing is with this photograph, I looked on my iPhone, and when he texted, he said, where are you? And it looked fine, sent it to him. And actually, if you do blur it up, you can just see the end of what I didn't realise was visible. So, yes, that's the danger of small screens and iPhones.
There we go. I'll tell you what, it is very small, I'll give you that.
Well, I say, it was an incredibly cold winter's day a week ago.
Bear Grylls, it's fair to say your life's been one big adventure.
Half for me, and half for you. Just tastes of kind of guts and pus and brain.
Bear Grylls, the world's favourite real-life action man.
He's the toughest, hardest guy I know. He's like mountaineer, avalanche man.
He's one of those rare alpha male, the guy you'd want around when it all went pear-shaped.
Ex-Eton, ex-SAS, posh, good-looking, hard as nails. He's the real James Bond.
Bear has climbed mountains, paramotored above the summit of Everest, and led expeditions in the Arctic and Antarctic. His TV programmes are watched in nearly 200 different countries.
It's actually quite incredible, his meteoric rise to fame.
One last bit. Awesome.
Bear's thirst for adventure came at a young age, and even the strict rules of Eton wouldn't stop him.
He climbed onto the roof of the library, which is not something that you'd probably recommend that your child did if you were sending them off to school.
After leaving school, Bear spent 3 years in the military's most elite force, the SAS. Then, at the age of 23, he became one of the youngest people to climb Everest. With his dynamic action man credentials, he got picked up by a deodorant company.
Facing an audience, you are on your own. There's no safety rope.
It wasn't long before a TV career beckoned.
We're hot, dry and miserable, but I keep saying that every step on this is a step closer to home.
Bear's first starring role was one of 12 men experiencing the hardships of the French Foreign Legion.
I've read the old Legion stories of men being buried alive and left in the sands of the Sahara. Experiencing it makes me think there cannot be many worse ways of dying.
As the process went on, he came more to the forefront as, you know, a leader and someone to rely on and someone who has all these skills.
Bear's big break as a global star came on the Discovery Channel, fronting his own survival series teaching viewers how to stay alive in extreme conditions.
That one where he ate the maggot. He ate a huge maggot and then exploded on the camera. Ooh. That was just revolting.
One thing you can do if you're stuck out here with no water source at all is actually drink the fluid from a fresh elephant dung.
Bear took survival to another level.
The Berbers could use this as an emergency shelter in a sandstorm.
You honestly don't need to do that. Don't do it.
And all I'd do is get inside it, pull it over, and I'll be 100% protected from the sand. Bottom line is, it doesn't matter how good or smart or clever you are, without water you're dead. You can recycle pee to help you survive. You take your t-shirt and then just pee on it.
Drinking his own urine, he's an advocate of it, you know. He may as well be the kind of lead member of the Drinking Your Own Wee Society.
He'll just do it. He just won't think about it. And that's part of his bloody-minded mentality, which gets him through.
You see, here's the thing. You really enjoy that stuff, don't you?
I do come alive in those moments, but it's not that it tastes nice or is nice, but, you know, it's fun to kind of share techniques and skills that you know are quite edgy, but also could save people's lives.
Sleeping in a camel's carcass, what was that like?
You know, I remember actually on that night, I was on Lariam, which is this anti-malarial pill, which gives you kind of pretty wacky dreams. And I remember at one point waking up, and I slept on the head. I had the head as a pillow pulled round. And I woke up with the whiskers tickling me like that. And I was convinced in my dream this thing had come alive and actually had eaten me. And I woke up in the middle of the day and go, ah! So that was a low point.
When you eat raw zebra meat, or the bugs or whatever, there must be a danger, I guess, of that meat itself or the maggots, whatever it may be, being contaminated.
You know, and the wild is unpredictable and you know, sometimes things go wrong. You know, I try and do things where the advice is good, and if you do this, it's not going to make you sick, but sometimes it does go wrong. I mean, the worst was I remember eating this snake, and I remember at the time thinking, this is a little bit dodgy, you know, and sure enough, 2 hours later, just feeling everything going south, and you know that feeling, it was like, you know, you're not going to be able to stop this. And I was climbing up this Namibian cliff, and I was halfway up, and I was thinking, I've just got to make it to the top, then we can have a break, I'll get the trousers down, we'll do it. Then I realised I wasn't going to make the top, and I was with the camera guys, with Simon, and I said, just turn your camera off, this isn't going to take long. And I was holding on one hand, and you know, I was trying to I had a foot in like this, hand like this, getting my trousers down, and, you know, and leant out, and I did diarrhea into free air like this.
Oh, my God! Was there anyone below you?
Yeah, the rest of the crew. But anyway, it was fine. I pulled the trousers up, I did it.
Done, coming at high speed.
But I remember then looking up, and the camera just blinking, you know, this red light. And I'm thinking, it is nothing sacred. Let's just grab 1 minute.